One of your most important responsibilities is to make sure your facility is a safe environment for food production. Keeping equipment and surfaces clean and sanitized can reduce the risk of cross-contamination, preventing damage to your product and the health of consumers. The effectiveness of this important process depends on whether or not you follow the correct procedure. The first step to the cleaning and sanitizing process is preparation, which includes all the things you need to do before working. This step also includes dry pickup, which involves removing large debris. Let's first look at preparation. Being prepared will save you time during the actual cleaning process. Preparation begins with PPE. Before you do any work, make sure you have all of the appropriate personal protective equipment for your job and that it's in good condition. It's also important that the proper tools be available before starting. This can include scrub pads, brushes, wipes, scrapers, shovels, and squeegees. Proper tools can also include carts and racks, mats for holding disassembled parts, hoses, chemical cleaner application equipment, or other tools, depending on the type and amount of soil to clean. Some tools should be dedicated to specific areas of the plant or to specific cleaning programs to prevent cross-contamination. Follow your company guidelines on the use of tools such as color-coded tools. When working, don't take shortcuts through the process. The safety of the food product will be affected if you don't follow proper procedures. In fact, product can become contaminated if it's processed on a surface that's not properly maintained. Unsafe product that reaches a consumer can lead to a recall, business problems, and illness or death of consumers. Required information related to the work processes can be found in the Sanitation Operating Procedure. You can also talk to your Ecolab account manager. To prepare the area for the actual cleaning, first remove trash and all production supplies, including packaging materials and food products. Lock out, tag out the equipment you're going to clean, or have the equipment locked out and tagged out by an authorized individual. Locking out equipment prevents the equipment from being accidentally started while it's being cleaned. Tagging out the equipment tells everyone in the plant who has locked it out. Next, carefully clean and sanitize sensitive electronics and equipment such as electric motors, solenoids, touchscreen panels, computers, some scales, electronic eyes, and metal detectors. Once cleaned, cover any sensitive electronics that should not be exposed during the main process. Take apart and remove any equipment that needs to be cleaned separately. Place the equipment in its designated spot. Do not place equipment parts directly on the floor. After you've prepped the area, you're ready for dry pickup. This involves removing large debris and excess soil from the equipment and floor. Floor soil should be removed with a dedicated floor squeegee, broom, and shovel. Don't use water until all floor soils, trash, and debris are removed. This means that you should never use a hose to spray large visible soils across the floor to the drain. Don't remove drain baskets during this step, as large debris can clog the drains. Step 2 of the cleaning and sanitizing process is to remove visible soils from surfaces by pre-rinsing. Removing as much visible soil as possible helps ensure the effectiveness of the detergent cleaning. Rinse water must not be above 140 degrees Fahrenheit or about 60 degrees Celsius so it doesn't burn soil onto the equipment or burn a person. During the pre-rinse, start at the top of equipment and rinse down so the soil is rinsed to the floor. If you are working in a large area, it can help to rinse in the general direction of product flow. Note that some equipment like augers and conveyor belts may need to be left running to properly clean them. Rinse until all visible soil is removed and rinse all the way to the drain. Large debris should be scooped up and placed in an appropriate container. Don't use a water hose to push large debris. If you have taken apart any equipment, rinse the parts and place them into an appropriate COP tank or on a dedicated cart, parts table, or other location for cleaning. Keep equipment parts off the floor during the entire process. Finally, rinse any walls or other surfaces that are going to be cleaned and empty the drain basket after the pre-rinse. Empty drain baskets into a proper trash receptacle. Removing soils from surfaces and equipment is critical to allow the chemical cleaner to come in direct contact with the surfaces during the foam cleaning and manual scrubbing steps that follow. Do not foam until all visible soil is removed and the floor push has been completed. Let's take a moment to review what you just learned with a knowledge check. Please select the best answer to the following question. That's right, you should always. Step 3 of the cleaning and sanitizing process is the chemical cleaner application. When you work with chemical cleaners, remember to wear all required personal protective equipment as required by the safety data sheet and follow the sanitation operating procedure. Different cleaning products are used depending on the type of soil to be removed. Make sure to use the right cleaner for the soil you need to remove. Also make sure you have the correct concentration of chemicals as stated in the sanitation operating procedure. Cleaning chemicals are usually provided as a concentrate. Your company may have an inventory control system in place. Use the required procedure, proper product, and concentration for your job. Most cleaning chemicals must be diluted in water prior to any application, including clean-in-place procedures in which chemicals flow through closed equipment. The correct concentration and mixing procedure may be found on the chemical label or sanitation operating procedure. When mixing, always add chemicals to cool or ambient water. Never add water to a chemical concentrate. The chemical concentration needs to be tested to make sure it is the right concentration for cleaning as stated in the sanitation operating procedure. Too little chemical may not be effective, but too much chemical may damage equipment and surfaces, compromise employee safety, and increase overall sanitation cost. Don't make the mistake of thinking that a higher concentration will enable you to clean better or faster. You can find out more about mixing specific chemicals from the sanitation operating procedure or your Ecolab account manager. Once the proper concentration is confirmed, apply the chemical use solution to the surface to be cleaned. When foam cleaning, apply the foam from the bottom up to the top in a side-to-side sweeping motion. Foaming from the bottom to the top maximizes the time that the cleaner contacts the surface. Thorough coverage is absolutely critical to remove soils. The proper foam consistency helps ensure that the cleaner stays on the surface as long as possible to remove soils. The quality of foam depends on the concentration of cleaner, air pressure, and water pressure. Don't allow the foam cleaner to dry onto the equipment surface. When preparing a bucket of foam cleaner for manual scrubbing, water temperature should be 110 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 43 to 49 degrees Celsius. Manual scrubbing is required when chemical foaming alone does not remove all soils or when the foam application cannot come in contact with the equipment surface. Best practice is to manually scrub equipment parts, gaskets, buckets, thermometers, small scales, and sample ports must come in contact with the cleaners to make sure all soil is removed from the surface. Application of the chemical alone does not guarantee that all soil will be removed. Use the right brush or scrub pad. Using the correct scrubbing tools can help you avoid damaging surfaces and prevent cross-contamination. Clean walls and other environmental surfaces first, then floors, drains, and finally processing equipment. Make sure to foam the undersides of equipment. Also, be careful that you do not cross-contaminate your surfaces by using the wrong tool in the wrong area. For example, you don't want to use a tool designated for floor cleaning on a piece of equipment. Clean the drains during environmental cleaning using dedicated color-coded drain tools. Most often, drain tools are black in color and separated from other cleaning tools. Cleaners can dry onto the equipment surface if the surface is hot or if the chemicals are left on too long. Chemicals should typically remain on the surface for about 10 to 15 minutes, then rinsed. Less time may be necessary if the surface is hot. Do not allow foam cleaner to dry onto equipment surfaces. Step 4 of the cleaning and sanitizing process is the post-rinse to remove cleaners and invisible soil from the surface. The post-rinse should be done in the order that the cleaner was applied. First, rinse the walls, then the floor, and then top to bottom on equipment. Rinse all the way to the drain. Do not use a high-pressure spray during the post-rinse. High pressure will spread soil and chemical onto surfaces that have already been cleaned and rinsed. Hot water is not required for the post-rinse. Water used in the post-rinse can be at an ambient temperature. Remove any standing water. Make sure there is no pooling of water on any surfaces. They should all drain freely. Equipment should be visibly free of soil, haze, or water beads. Verify by sight, feel, and smell. Using a flashlight provides extra light to inspect equipment for remaining soils, haze, or water beads. Anything left in the room, such as tools, tarps, or area dividers, should be cleaned, sanitized, and stored in an appropriate location and in an appropriate manner. Step 5 of the cleaning and sanitizing process is the pre-op inspection and verification. Before inspecting and handling cleaned equipment, be sure to wash and sanitize your hands or gloved hands. As a best practice, it is recommended that you change your apron, gloves, and outerwear to prevent cross-contamination on the cleaned equipment. Inspection allows for a visual verification of the cleaning process. Everyone is responsible for verifying that the cleaning process performed is effective. Check that all chemicals and soils have been removed. This can be done visually, chemically using pH paper, and with an ATP system. Watch for any soils that are still on the surface. Remove any standing water and overhead condensation. Inspect all parts, especially any parts that you won't be able to reach after the equipment is put back together. The sanitation employee or supervisor in charge of the area should conduct a final inspection of the entire area. Any issues noted must be corrected immediately. ATP swabs may be used to verify that a surface is clean and free of soil. Step 6 of the cleaning and sanitizing process is equipment reassembly. Assemble the equipment following plant instructions on lockout/tagout procedures. If necessary, re-lubricate the equipment where it's needed. Once the equipment is put back together, it should be inspected again to make sure that it is free of chemical residue and visually clean of soils. Tools and cleaning supplies should be put away and equipment guards should be in place. Complete the pre-op documents by verifying discrepancies in the cleaning program. Step 7. The final step of the cleaning and sanitizing process is sanitizer application. Many facilities require you to wear different clothing for sanitizing since contaminants can get on your clothing or body during the cleaning process and potentially recontaminate the surface. So if required, change your clothing and then wash and sanitize your hands before sanitizing equipment to help minimize the risk of cross-contamination. Follow the directions for use on the sanitizer EPA label and only use the concentration approved for sanitizing food contact surfaces. Flood apply sanitizer in order to get thorough surface coverage that is critical to the entire processing area. Flood apply sanitizer to the floors, then the walls, and then food processing equipment last. After applying the sanitizer, allow the solution to drain off of equipment prior to production startup as directed in the sanitation operating procedure. When applied at specific concentrations as listed on the sanitizer EPA label or catalog sheet, the sanitizer is approved for incidental food contact and does not need to be rinsed off of the surface. Resanitize any equipment that is idle for more than 3 or 4 hours or may have become recontaminated due to surrounding activity. Let's review for a moment the topics we covered. The first step to the cleaning and sanitizing process is preparation, which includes tasks such as completing lockout/tagout procedures and getting the correct tools. This step also includes dry pickup, which is removing large debris and excess soil from the equipment, floor, and entire room. Step 2 of the process is to remove soils from surfaces by pre-rinsing with warm to hot water. Rinsing should be done from the top down. Step 3 is chemical cleaner application. Clean walls and surfaces first, followed by floors and drains and processing equipment last. Apply foam cleaner from the bottom to the top of the surface to maximize the time that the cleaner contacts the surface. Step 4 is the post-rinse to remove cleaners and invisible soil from the surface. First, rinse the walls, then the floor, and then top to bottom on equipment. Step 5 is the pre-op inspection and verification, in which you check that all chemicals and soils have been removed. Step 6 is equipment reassembly. And Step 7 is sanitizer application. Sanitizer should be applied to the entire processing area.